Hey everyone, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I am with A Room to Bloom. I just realized that I have a kitty toy over there on the floor. But anyway, so when deciding to do a live this afternoon, entitling the video, I decided to take one card to see what message comes through. And what came through is consciousness. And I thought, boy, isn't that perfect for today? So I have a deck here called the Sunflower Plant Spirit Guide. And so this has flowers and plants on it. And the one that it's showing is Inscientia, and that speaks of consciousness. And what it says is it stimulates and awakens your consciousness, helping to break up and release outdated personal stories, emotions, and attachments that are holding you back from positive growth and self-realization and awakening awareness of your true self when you have forgotten or lost connections. So thinking about this idea that your mind is a garden and whatever you plant will grow, right? So if you have things that you planted that were weeds, right? Because your thoughts create things and that has kind of gotten out of hand. It's saying, having this in your life will help you to reframe your thoughts, if you will. So shifting, detangling from that stuff, shifting to a positive growth and self-realization. This is the card. So the colors are very, very vibrant. And so that pink speaks of our crown chakra. All right. And the green here is representative of our heart chakra. The yellow is our solar plexus chakra. So let's see what else wants to come up. I have some of these in reverse, I see here. Let me just get them in order and then we'll shuffle them. Hope everyone is having a good day today. Let's see. Actually, before I go any further, what I wanted to do is just take a moment and to ring a chime, clear the energy a little bit. So let's just see how that works for you. If you're feeling frazzled, had a lot going on, doing some running around, have a lot of noise going on. And one more time. Lovely message. I noticed that the time right now is 4:14. So I'm just going to hold with that for a minute and we'll get back to that. But let's see what else comes up here. Okay, we have yarrow. That's really interesting. I just, I was writing something and this came up in a picture in the background, right? And so this speaks about setting boundaries. Like an umbrella or a shield, yarrow offers protection from negative energies or toxic influences. She helps you to build strong, healthy boundaries and compassionate awareness of self and others. And to avoid unnecessary energy leaks and general depletion as you evolve and grow. So energy leaks can look like so many things. Are you a yes person? Do you say yes to everything? Or do you set boundaries? Even like say you're exhausted and you've been going, and maybe you've been helping others, but now you have things to do, but someone calls you and there you go again, right? But all your other stuff is kind of falling apart. This is where it's like, it isn't that I don't care, but I also need to care about myself. Same idea as the oxygen mask on an airplane, right? Learning how to set boundaries brings you peace of mind. It helps you rest in peace, literally, right? And then when your yeses are yes, they're like soul yeses. Yes, I'm good. It's not a yes that's begrudgingly, right? So let's see what else we have here. Red clover speaks of tranquility, right? And so when you set those boundaries, that's what you step into, is tranquility. Red clover helps support a sense of clarity, individuality, self-awareness in the midst of a chaotic and often negative world. She is calm. She is a calm and steady presence, helping you to remain balanced and to think and act from your center of truth, despite whatever may be taking place around you. Now, I just did a couple of shorts. I just released one. And in that, this same thing came up with like a storm going on around you and being able to hold your center with whatever's going on in life, remaining tranquil, right? Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, speedwell is the flower, and the word is insight. Very lovely flower there with that purple. Life seems to speed by. Bird eye speedwell helps you to slow down, to be patient, and to become aware of the bigger picture. She shares her grounding energy so that the ego cannot get in the way of true insight, and facilitates true healing by expanding the conscious beyond personal beliefs and conditioning, right? So we have our beliefs, but when we can expand, I have goosebumps. When we can expand our mind, expand our consciousness, our mind is different from our consciousness, right? Our mind is like a calculator. It thinks and analyzes and processes this type of thing. But our consciousness is awareness. And so it's being aware. We expand our consciousness so that our awareness becomes greater of not just our personal beliefs, but what is going on in the collective, right? Um, Tapping into why might somebody have the beliefs that they do without judgment, and just, it's like a greater understanding. There's a great peace in that, right? So having insight. Okay, and the last one we have is mugwort, which speaks of integration, right? So here's mugwort. People will often burn this in the evening for like a more mellow feel and to help with dreams. It says there is rhythm and balance to all life, a dance between the physical reality and the spiritual world. Mugwort opens and expands your consciousness to embrace all that you are, light and dark, body and spirit, helping you to integrate all aspects of your multidimensional consciousness into everyday practical life. So I've been using this deck called Roots and Wings, and that's it, right? We become rooted into our physical experience, but we're tapping into that which is of the spirit, right? Anyway, so I say, consciousness, spirit, however you want to look at that, right? But integrating them together, working with them as a whole. It is when you set boundaries and you find tranquility that you gain the insight. And once you've gained the insight, you integrate this into your experience, right? Okay, on the bottom of the deck, we have alignment, just that added extra touch here. So Campanula speaks of alignment. The Campanula bells are ringing in the spirit of abundance from the limitless universal source, helping you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with your true self, which knows no limitations. Focus on all you have achieved instead of dwelling on all there is yet to do. Be well and be happy. That can change our perspective so greatly. So I've spoken on this a few times. The idea, think about in your life, if you've had a calendar that, a busy parent is coming to mind, just a busy life, whatever that is. always writing something in. This event is taking place on this day at this time. You know, people feel like they have to, need to, should, all of this. But when you turn that on its head and you're like, okay, I'm going to have a calendar, but I'm not going to fill it up with need tos, have tos, shoulds, better, get dones. I'm going to turn that around and write down what I've done for the day as I've done it. So if you wake up at whatever time, you write that in. And then you walk by this again and you're like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. What have I done since I last wrote that down? And so you start to write, focus on all you have achieved. So because everything that you enter is what you've already done, right? So that's what you're focusing on. It's not the stress, right? Instead of the dwelling of all there is yet to do. It's like, oh, I'm going to write this down. Now, there might be a few things that, yes, you would like to accomplish, but you don't get stressed out because of it. You're allowing yourself to flow with what is. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to, I'm going to use a deck here called Spirit Song Tarot. All right, what message do you have for the collective here? Okay, I have goosebumps, so let's see. Okay, the first message is a Knight of Feathers. Now, the Knight of Feathers is a Knight of Swords energy. Generally, this is depicted in the regular deck of someone coming rushing in, and they're kind of waving this sword. Now, the sword is sharp. The sword is our thoughts also, right? But someone who is taking quick action and they have something that they is on their mind, right? They have something that is on their mind. So they may want to say something. Let's talk about these boundaries. Under the boundaries, we have the Ace of Crystals. Now, this is the Ace of Pentacles, which speaks about that which is in our earthly experience. It's not just money, or it is things that we have or can get, right? So this falls under boundaries in regards to that. It's also like manifestation and prosperity here. So I find it interesting that, you know, this is black and white, this panda bear, black and white. You know, you may learn how to set boundaries, and boundaries are kind of interesting because, you know, there's a lot of things in life that there's this color in between, but you know, this idea of no really means no and yes means yes, right? So kind of setting those boundaries so that you can step into that space of tranquility. Okay, what else do we have here? Under tranquility, we have the Seven of Shells. Now, this is the Seven of Cups, saying there are many choices, many decisions in front of you. It's a little bit like going on the internet and looking for an answer. It can become overwhelming, but this one speaks of choice and ambitions, and it falls under tranquility. So here you are, looks like are being encouraged to choose choices as you go after your ambitions, if you will, to find tranquility in that, or to make choices that have that tranquility in there, right? Okay, under insight, we have the Empress, which speaks of beauty and abundance. Now, the Empress is someone who embodies the energy of all four queens in the deck, and definitely would be someone who has insight, right? Helps you to slow down, to be patient, to become aware, and to see the bigger picture. And that is exactly what the Empress would be doing. She would be a grounding energy where the ego doesn't get in the way, and facilitates true healing in expanding the consciousness beyond personal beliefs and conditioning, right? The Empress sees over an empire with her emperor, right? And so has insight. Okay, what else do we have under integration? We have the Six of Crystals, which is the Six of Pentacles, and this is about giving and receiving in balance, right? And so it speaks of synergy and gratitude, right? So integrating that giving and receiving in balance. And it doesn't have to be a one-for-one type of situation, but the idea of we don't want to create blockages here. We want to have things moving, right? And so being grateful for all that we do have in our life, right? And integrating that gratitude into our life. I'm going to continue on here and see if we can get a little clarification as to why is the Knight of Feathers coming up under consciousness. Okay, we have the Three of Crystals. This is the Three of Pentacles. Speaks about collaboration, or working with others, and productivity, building something, right? Building something. So this could be working together, and it's no surprise that there is a B on here, right? So this oftentimes says others would like to work with you. So with this Knight coming in, they may be someone who would like to work with you and create a collaboration. Under the Ace of Pentacles, why is this here? We have the Traveler. And it speaks about, and this is I'm sorry, the Fool card, a new beginning. So interesting, right? And that falls under the boundaries. We set boundaries and we say, okay, I'm on this new beginning here. It is an adventure. And with a new beginning, there is always new potential. The Ace of Crystals is also, aces are representative of new beginnings. So new beginnings in finances, right? Okay, what else do we have here under the Seven of Shells? King of Feathers. So the King of Feathers is the King of Swords. This is someone who thinks logically, right? They also bring justice to situations and such. So it's interesting that there is a lion on here. So this could be representative of Leo energy, right? The Strength card. So a King of Swords is also going to be somebody who's going to bring the truth forward, right? And so that could be in some type of a case, but tranquility is what comes out of this. All right, what else do we have under the Empress? We have the Ten of Crystals. Okay, so remember we had this thing about the finances, new beginning with finances. What we have, the Ten of Crystals, is the Ten of Pentacles again. This is family. It's like family wealth. You have income, stability, and attainment. And it's actually interesting because, oh, I'm sorry, that falls under the Empress. Pardon me. So that falls under the Empress, which makes sense, right? Beauty and abundance. So the Ten of Crystals saying you're set. This insight is saying, you know, be aware, right? Be patient. Be aware of the bigger picture, which could be that as well. Okay, and then under the Six of Crystals, what do we have here for clarification on this? Why is this here? We have the Two of Crystals, about juggling something in the earthly realm, balancing things, adaptability, being able to possibly multitask, right? Integrating things. It could be this abundance into your life, learning how do you use that, like philanthropy, right? And then finding balance and adaptability, and at the same time setting the boundaries, maintaining the tranquility. And there's nothing wrong with that. On the bottom of this deck, we have the Ace of Shells, which says a new beginning in love, right? It's the Ace of Cups. There's a new beginning in love, happiness, and abundance. Yet again, I'm going to go a little bit further. We have the Eight of Feathers. This comes after a situation where one has felt very much in their mind, the Eight of Swords, right? Has been through something. It's taking courage and finding solutions. And what has happened through all of this, a transformation has taken place, right? transition and or liberation, some type of a freedom. And I'm going to go, and because I saw it, the ladybug here, 5 of crystals. This is like staying persistent and new possibilities here for you. Okay, so what else do we have? This is kind of, I just felt drawn to this today. And so this deck is called Unplug, which is kind of interesting because, you know, when we get anxious, right? When we find ourselves being anxious, sometimes it can be to do with how many things we're being pulled at, how many different directions, or how many people are pulling at us for our attention. That's why we need boundaries. But also it can come from having, you know, so many electronics on and such. So when we just take a break from that for a little while, regain our tranquility, if you will. Let's see what comes up for suggestions here, though, for the collective. Being present, right? And so when we unplug for a while, it helps us to be present. Think about any time, if you've ever been trying to have a conversation with someone and they're on their phone and they're not really present, right? So the simple act of being completely present to another person is truly an act of love. No drama is required. It's not the half conversations like, wait, I'm watching this show. Wait, I'm listening to this video. Wait, right? Saying I'm not available for you right now. And there are things that it might be kind of a tougher situation, but with electronics, we can choose to set that down for a while, right? Especially in today's day and age where you can pause things. Okay, the next one is, okay. All right. So it's a being with the world, like being here in the world, right? In order to live with integrity, we must stop fragmenting and I did this before, compartmentalizing our lives, telling lies and then expecting great truths, and meditation is nonsensical. Every aspect of our lives is connected to every other aspect of our lives. The truth is the basis for an awakened life. So in order to live with integrity, we must stop fragmenting and dividing our lives up. That means, you know, we set the boundaries so we can reclaim those fragmented selves, parts of us. That's why we unplug. We don't have a little bit of ourself over here, a little bit of ourself over here, a little bit of ourself over here, and over here, and over here, and pieces that you feel like you've left behind that you've got to go around and pick back up, right? This is when people say, pick yourself back up, pull yourself back together, right? Because there's stuff all over. And so this is finding wholeness within the self, being with the world. Okay. All right. What else do we have? Letting go. We have blue here. The art of concentration is a continual letting go. We let go of that which is inessential or distracting. We let go of a thought or a feeling, not because we are afraid of it, because we can't bear to acknowledge it as a part of our experience, but because it is unnecessary, right? Think of a computer where all of a sudden the thing starts spinning, the computer's slowing down. Why? Because it's carrying a bunch of unnecessary stuff that we used however many years ago, right? And we just haven't gone back to clean it up. So this is saying it's like time to sit with the self when we've set boundaries and we're sitting in tranquility going, yeah, what has been keeping things going all the time, that, you know, this busyness, right? Why can't one concentrate? right? Why does one feel overwhelmed? What is it that's causing that? You know, there are times when we create our own stuff, right? We create, and there are times when it's like, why do we create it? Because sometimes we don't want to sit with ourselves. We don't want to feel the feelings from things. So we get busy and we cover it up with busyness or doingness. And this is saying it's okay to be. It's okay to let some things go. Um, Especially anything that happens to be with like the emotional and so many things. Like this is a busy room, right? So if I walked around and I chose whatever, a thing or two, a sign like this sign up here on the shelf that says create. If I chose that, now to be honest with you, I can't remember where I got that. Really, a lot of this stuff. But if I had very sentimental things up there, it might be hard for me to release and or to let go because memories, the word memories is that which brings me more ease. And so it's like, do I have things around to make me feel at more ease? Or can I allow things to move, right? So that is the word synergy, right? So we're not creating blockages, whether they are physical blockages, emotional blockages, mental blockages, right? And so it's saying, can we just kind of unpack this stuff and release it? The art of letting go. And when we are not distracted by something else, which we are plugged into, we're unplugging from drama, right? Oh, just you kind of see it. If you ever, think about television sometimes where say there's something going on in a room and there'll be like some guy outside and he'll walk into the room and there's something going on and goes, and you can just kind of see him look at it for a second and then he turns around and walks out because he's not going there, right? He's not going to get involved in this drama. And it's the same thing. It's becoming self-aware, right? Raising our consciousness to a place where we're like, oh yeah, that is a bunch of drama, right? And I don't have to be involved in it. I don't have to create it. I can let it go, right? Okay. And I think we're just going to wrap this up for today. I want to say thanks for joining me. I hope that you have an amazing day. Take care.